MindsEye was marketed as a story-driven single-player GTA killer. Well, not gonna lie, it actually is a GTA killer cause it killed GTA 2. But other than that, comparing MindsEye to even GTA 3 is an insult to GTA 3. It's just wild how they make claims like this when you can do barely anything in the so-called open world. There's no fist fighting, carjacking, hunting, shopping, weapon modding, right customizing, drip, flexing, cop, chasing tank, driving, store robbing, bank, heisting, skydiving, hooker, picking, hooker, punching, strip, clubbing, TV, watching, chaos, causing, parachuting, jokes, cracking good, writing, iconic missions, good characters, and a decent storytelling. Now, I won't be talking about how abysmally unplayable the game is. I just want to talk about the story and the narrative. So, is the story a redeeming factor for MindsEye? Well, let's find out. This is something I would never shut up about, cause it's the characters that make a good story. And I actually feel bad for the actors, cause the acting was decent. However, the characters are just kinda there. Jacob has an implant and amnesia. There's this generic tech billionaire, this obligatory bald black girl boss, this weird fat scientist, this random Asian fanboy who's probably the only one who gives a f about MindsEye, this generic villain, and Miles Morales, Jacob's best friend who's never seen again after the first hour of the game. And none of these guys have any character growth whatsoever. Anyways, let's talk about the MindsEye itself. Jacob Diaz is former military who has this implant called the MindsEye, which gives him a super cool ability. Jacob can control a drone. That's it. The game's literally called MindsEye, and that's all it does. I mean, this dude's hyped about it. Even the scientist that made it is living off the grid. It should give you some kind of superhuman abilities, but no, it gives you drone control. Anyways, let's talk about the plot. Jacob and his crew are investigating an ancient temple, where his drone comes across these weird markings. They send out some kind of energy pulse that makes the drone go rogue. Jacob gets a seizure and the drone kills his entire team. And not gonna lie, the setup was kinda cool. After a few years, Jacob shows up in Red Rock City with no memory of the incident. Now here, Seb, his best friend, hooks him up with Silva Corporation. Now for some reason, the RoboCops are going rogue, and since Jacob's on the security team, it's his job to investigate what's going on. Then he meets a guy who knew the guy who built the MindsEye, a guy named Morrison, who also used to work for the Silva Corporation. Anyways, to find answers, Jacob decides to sneak into Morrison's office. There he sees those same weird symbols again, and this time Jacob can read them. But what do they say? No one knows. Anyways, after that, Jacob runs into a faction called the Red Sands, the faction that the writers forgot about later in the game. Now there are two hackers that are important for some reason, and Jacob has to find them. One is killed by the same faction, but Jacob manages to save the other one named Charlie. After a while, the bald black woman questions Jacob why was he in Morrison's office. Jacob's not sure, so she lets it go. In fact, out of nowhere, Jacob's invited to Marco Silva's house and becomes his personal bodyguard. I mean, Jacob's been there for like 2 days and is already acting suspicious. And Seb was the one who gave him the card in the first place, but I guess the writers forgot about him. Anyways, Elon Musk here wants to send rockets into space, but the mayor refuses unless he gives up control of his robots. They argue, but then Silva gets poisoned. Jacob saves him and gets him out of there. Turns out his assistant poisoned him and she wants to export some data to a certain someone. Jacob follows her, but she gets away. And all this barely affects the story, and you'll see why in just a bit. Eventually, Okada does some tech mumbo jumbo that unlocks the MindsEye ability to control a drone. Anyways, during the launch, the mayor comes to stop it with the main antagonist of the game, this guy. They try to stop the launch, but the robots randomly start shooting everyone. Jacob saves Marco and launches a rocket. Eventually, Charlie finds a place where Morrison might be hiding. Here, Jacob comes across more symbols that interact with the MindsEye, and he gets like his third seizure, which by the way is still less than the ones this game's been giving to the PS5 since release. Anyways, he wakes up and meets Morrison, who explains the symbols from the temple actually awakened something, and it also somehow altered Jacob's DNA, making him part kin.
Kin fucking bastard!
He then sends Jacob to put 3 transmitters somewhere so he can communicate with whatever's out there. And of course, there's a skybeam. This somehow activates a glowing orb back in the ancient temple. Anyways, the party gets crashed and the bad guy shows up to arrest everyone involved. But don't worry, because everyone gets out of there safely. Back at the bunker, we finally learn why the RoboCops are going rogue. It's a virus. And then for some reason the bunker's location is compromised and Morrison gets caught. You know what? Let's just get this over with. Charlie dies sacrificing herself to save Jacob, and there's another Silva rocket launch for some reason. Morrison is somehow the only person who understands this language. He then pulls out the orb and the bad guy just takes it. He then chooses the bald black woman. Silva then drops some shit from his rocket to Jacob's location and the blast frees the orb. The orb shuts down every robot in his proximity. In the chaos, a bald black woman shoots the bad guy in the back and he dies. And this robot runs away with the orb despite the fact that it shut down every robot near it just minutes ago. Later, it's revealed that the orb is actually a portal for the kin.
Some kind of gateway.
And if you remember, Jacob has kin DNA.
My DNA! I see it now. I know what I have to do. Nobody else is dying for me.
He then jumps through the portal to save the world. The end. Maybe this was too much for me, but seriously, can someone tell me in the comments, what was the deal with the red sands? What was the deal with this guy wanting the orb? How did Morrison know the alien language? What was the deal with Silva's rockets? How did that pulse alter Jacob's DNA? Why is this game called MindsEye when literally no one cares about it? The thing is, competition is a good thing. And I genuinely wanted this game to be good because it's been way too long since we've had anything that even tried to rival GTA. But these guys couldn't even write a cohesive narrative for a game that's 60% cutscenes with nothing else to do. You know what? I'm done with this. I'm out of here.